Last week, I collected $6,638. That's 212% above my weekly target, and Mac still called it a problem. All right, let's look at the Mac Digest from last week and see what it says. You collected $6,638 last week, crushing your $3,125 target by 212%, but outreach collapsed to 56% of target, 82 versus 146, and you booked 0 meetings. You're banking on pipeline momentum, not activity. Cold calls are your only working channel right now. 100% response rate, 1 of 1. Everything else, email, video pitches, LinkedIn DMs, is dead weight. Stop spreading activity thin. Double down on cold calls this week. That's your only live signal. So I had my best revenue week of the year, and my AI coach told me that I was doing it wrong. That's the thing about having a system that actually tracks this. It doesn't let you feel good about the wrong things. I collected money this week because of work that I did weeks ago. That is pipeline momentum. But the thing that I didn't do was fill up the pipeline for next month. Mac caught that. Without having the revenue tracker here, I probably would have never caught it. Here's where I actually stand. Year to date, I collected $25,164. I need $4,027 every week for the rest of the year. The open pipeline is $20,331. Now, here's my profit and loss from QuickBooks. January 1st to May 19th of 2026, I'm at $27,473 in revenue. The same period last year, I was at $33,436. The gap to last year right now is $5,963. Now, there is going to be slight discrepancy in the year-to-date totals from QuickBooks to Video Project Pro because there are other incomes that are coming in from different areas that aren't going to be accounted for in VPP. In episode 1, I said that I was $37,000 behind target in my business. And that is true because I did set a $150,000 goal of revenue this year. But the comparison to where I was at this exact point last year is only about $6,000, not $37,000. I want to be honest about why this matters. When you're in a slow quarter and you're staring at a dashboard that is telling you that you're tens of thousands of dollars behind target, it is very easy to spiral. I did it last year and I was doing it again this year. But the goal number is an aspiration that I set, and the year-to-date total is a reality check. Look, I'm behind my goal. I'm not behind my business. And these are two different things. And I think it's important to understand this because when you're in a slow stretch, you definitely need to understand where that context is coming from. I talked in episode 1 about the mental side of having a slow quarter. How last year I spiraled when Q1 was super slow unexpectedly. But this year I was expecting it and I still got in my own head about it. Now, here's what I didn't say. I started spiraling because I was going at this blind. I had a rough sense of where I was, but there was really no visibility in the actual numbers. No weekly snapshot, and definitely no system to tell me if I was on pace and what I needed to do to make sure that I was keeping pace for where I wanted to be. When you don't have the data, your brain starts filling the gap, and usually with the worst case scenarios. Look, $6,000 behind at week 21, that is like a very manageable situation. $37,000 behind your goal without any kind of context feels like an impossibility and a failing business. Same reality, completely different response. And the difference is knowing your numbers well enough to read them accurately. And that's what I built Video Project Pro to do. Not to make the numbers feel better, but to know exactly how to handle them and what to do next to make sure that you're staying on target. Let me walk you through how I use VPP this week because this is the practical side of what the platform actually does. 2 new projects went into pre-production this week. Both closed last week. One is ad content and the other one is an ad content retainer. The retainer is worth about $2,200 a month. And Max Digest flagged that it now covers most of my $4,100 weekly floor. But that's the value of reoccurring revenue. One client relationship covering half of your baseline. I used the discovery board on one of these conversations, and that's what helped me capture all of my notes from that call and actually push it into a proposal in like record time. I also shot a wedding this week for a friend's company that's going to be roughly $1,500. So that goes into the pipeline, but the payment is still pending, so I'm not going to be counting it until that clears, probably next week. Mac also told me about something that I want to flag. He said to audit my 6 open deals this week, figure out which of the 2 or 3 to close this month and which 3 or 4 are dead weight. I'm going to do that on camera next week so you can see what that entire process looks like. How you know which deals to chase and which ones to kill. Mac was direct about my outreach as well. He told me exactly which channels to kill and which ones to focus on. Out of the one cold call I did, I had 1 positive response. That's 100% positive response rate. Now, of course, that is a very small data set. So what we're going to be focusing on this week is just really hammering through some cold calls. Now, if you are like me, then you are not looking forward to doing cold calls, and I certainly am not, but I'm just gonna have to suck it up and do it, because if that's what is going to move the needle faster, then that's what I need to do. Now, I'm not gonna completely kill all of my other outreach channels. The things like the LinkedIn DMs, the Facebook messages, even the video pitches, these are methods that I do believe work, but it is a numbers game and you just have to be able to do enough of them, and the money is in the follow-up. So this week, here is the plan. I'm just going to double down on cold calls this week, but I'm also gonna audit some of my other outreach channels and just see if there's things that I could tweak to maybe get a better response rate, because frankly, some of these things I'm just like not getting any response from. And I do think that part of it is there's like an oversaturation of gurus and people who are selling snake oil, for lack of a better term, and just frankly, just a lot of spam. So if you're relying on cold email outreach or even social media DMs, it's very, very easy to get lost in the fray of all of that. So week 21 is done. I got $25,164 year to date. $4,027 is needed per week. 2 projects are in pre-production. I got 1 wedding payment pending, retainer locked in. The pipeline has about $20,000 in potential revenue inside of it. And the gap to last year at this point is $5,963. Next week, I'm going to do the deal audit on camera. Mac told me to try to figure out which of the deals that are just sitting in the pipeline need to be killed and which ones are worth following up with. I'm going to walk through that process live so you can see what that looks like, how I evaluate each deal, which questions I ask, how do I know if these are worth following up with. So if you're running a video business and you want the same visibility on your numbers, the weekly digest, the pipeline tracker, the revenue tracker, all of these tools combined together, then it's all inside Video Project Pro just for you. The link is going to be in the description and in the first pinned comment. Beta founder pricing is still open right now. It's $199 for a lifetime for the pro tier, and you could drop a comment if you want 30 days free just to check it out. So we'll see what next week brings, because we got projects in the pipeline, but we need to make sure that we are still filling the pipeline up for next month. So we'll see how it goes. Later.